Good day. This is Kathleen Caldwell, founder of C-Suite Network's Women's Coaching and Consulting Council. So great you're here. Sisters, showing up live in person. I think the acronym is IRL, in real life, right? That's a TLA that we just found something out today from someone. So here we go. We're always learning things in our council. So today's topic, really powerful, how to recession-proof your coaching consulting business, your thought leader business, your trusted advisor business, or really just your career in general. So this is going to be really fun. Believe it or not, it's going to be fun. We're going to have it be interactive and going over some slides to reinforce the content that I've created for each of us and for myself, and also for our great viewers. So we're so grateful. Give us some sparkle fingers for everybody who's going to watch this in the future. Thank you. Okay, good. So again, I'm so delighted to be the founder of C-Suite Network's Women's Coaching and Consulting Council. I am a speaker, author, trusted advisor, thought leader, friend, spouse, ballroom dancing partner to my sweetheart, all kinds of fun things. That's the challenge, I think, for many of us in life. We like to do a lot of things, which in this next year is going to be very good for us. So we know we've got a lot of people making prognostications, hard word there for me to say, prognostications or procrastinations, one of the two, on this next year. So as we're starting off the new year, you know, if you pick up any sort of newspaper, watch the news feeds, you know, you're going to be getting a lot of stuff about, are we going into recession? Some are saying we're in a recession, you know, and so today's topic is all about how can we be steady, diversify our income, be calm and relaxed, be in action, get over what we need to get over to be the leaders who we are. And so just want to do a quick shout out. We did a program 2 weeks ago. It was phenomenal. We're creating an ebook from all of our esteemed faculty members who brought their top tips to the program. So big shout out to you. And, you know, that's part of our thought leadership is we want to showcase, highlight, promote you. We, in fact, do it. So we also 2 weeks ago had a very fun vision board party. Oh, my goodness. Ladies were creating their vision boards. So you can watch that recording on our YouTube channel and, you know, you can start and stop it. So work on your vision board, work on your vision. It's bigger than your word of the year. It's how to put your word of the year in action. So be sure to watch that. It was so much fun. We had music. YouTube even kind of flagged us and said, hey, wait a minute, you know, Luther Vandross is never too much. Let's make sure that he's cool with the Women's Coaching and Consulting Council using your song. And he is. God rest his soul. So there we go. So as we go into 2023, lot of opportunities, a lot of tumultuous things happening in the world, you know, and at the same time, isn't it always like that? And so what I'd like to do is put together some ideas with us to talk about what's the risk, how we can recession-proof our careers and our businesses, but give us some tangible things that we can do to move forward. And so my first challenge to all of us is, can you all see the screen? Just making sure you can see the screen. All righty. So what I would like to do is challenge each of you to look at the pictures on the screen and hone in on one that really resonates with you as you think about 2023. And so the key is not to overthink it, just to pick one of the pictures that resonates with you. Okay, and when you have that, give me a little sparkle fingers here, one that resonates. Okay, so here we go. So couple questions for you as you focus in on this picture that you've chosen for this moment. And you think about 2023. Write down on a sheet of paper or, you know, a notepad or on your laptop or your computer, whatever you'd like, 3 words that relate to the economy, what's happening in the world, and how that relates to your picture. Okay, like Why did you choose? Were you attracted to that picture when you're thinking about this new year in the economy? So 3 words. Okay. And then 1 word about what the picture generates in you, like the feelings you may have, or the thoughts you may have, or the energy around the picture. So 3 words that would describe, the first thing is, the picture, why you chose it, for your thoughts and feelings around 2023. And then the second question is just kind of a word or phrase about what does it conjure up in you. Okay. And so I'm going to stop sharing, and I think I'll keep sharing and also share the screen. And with Zoom, you can also have part of the slides and the other part, you can do a half and half. Yeah. So we can see each other, but I can still keep the screen up. Yeah. So we're getting high tech here, in the women's coaching and consulting, we always are. So there we go. So who'd like to share? What were your 3 words? Yeah, thank you, Susan. Yes. And kind of what were the feelings that were brought up by the picture?
For me, immediately was opportunity,
Ah,
and looking at that bright blue sky, and
ooh,
then catching in the fact that you could either miss it or you could take them. And to me, it's really about being open to change, open to the partnering and potential, instead of looking back to what you think you're missing.
mm,
So for me, it's
excellent.
about the hope and excitement of creating success, instead of looking at, oh my gosh, what could go wrong? Look at what could go right.
Oh, okay. Who loved that? We all thank you so much, Susan. Yes, yes, excellent, excellent. Good. Thank you so much. That is so you. It's so you. Yes, excellent. Good. Yeah, thank you. Big kisses to you. Yes. Who else? What were your, yeah, thank you, Michelle. Please jump in.
I chose the one with the lady standing with her hands up toward the sky.
Ah, yes,
Yeah.
excellent. Yes.
And it is kind of a disconnect, because you said the economy and how the economy relates to the picture. Well, what I'm hearing about the economy doesn't really relate to that picture. However, that picture just represents how I want to feel and how I feel. My word for the year is shine.
Ooh.
And so the words that I came up with is God's light shining. I actually had 5 because it was shining on me, but you said 3, so God's light shining.
Yes, okay. Yeah.
And so, because to me, regardless of what they say in the economy, what I believe, I do coaching and training like everybody else, right? So to me, if leaders are gonna care about their teams, which I believe that they do and will, then they will continue to invest to help them succeed. And because of that, then they'll invest money, and that will allow me the opportunity to help people shine through what I can share. And so the feelings that I got were energy, gratitude, and blessings coming down.
Awesome. Awesome.
So I like that picture.
There you go. Great. Good. Yes. And Michelle, we don't all do coaching and consulting like you, right? And nobody does it the way you do it, or the way, what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, there you
Everybody's
go. Yeah.
unique. Exactly.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Really great. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, like the exercise.
Yeah, great. I did too. I was inspired to do this, to kind of set the stage. Yes, good. Gloria, how about you, Kathy Dirksen? Your thoughts, your picture? Yeah.
Yep. For me, I picked the roller coaster.
Ooh.
So for me, it was that one or the woman with the flowers in the eyes. I was drawn more to the roller coaster, and how it fits for me for 2023 is I'm kind of with Michelle. It's like, how does it relate to the economy? Well, okay, the roller coaster could be the ups and downs. But for me, what the picture spoke to me about is the excitement and the adventure of being on a roller coaster, right? So that it can be a little intimidating or a little scary at times, and yet it's fun. And so leaning into the adventure and excitement that 2023 can bring, because I'm with Michelle. I think we're in a really good position. People are focused more now on supporting their team, coaching their team, giving them the skills, the tools, the resources. So that makes 2023 a lot more exciting for me than scary. So I'm trying to not pay attention to all the discussion about recession and just tuning into what I'm hearing and seeing from folks. And, my word for last year was experimentation, still coming out of COVID, let's try different things. And this year it's go big, right? So don't play it small. Jeffrey says never, let a good crisis go to waste. So I'm right there with him. So it's the time to go big.
Awesome.
Leaning into that because,
Yes.
my mindset is also to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Gorgeous. Oh my goodness. Okay. Sparkle fingers. We did not give Michelle some sparkle fingers. And of course, Gloria. Yes. Wow. Awesome. Thank you. Kathy Dirksen, bring us home, sweetheart. What, and we just call each other sweetheart and friend and gal and darling. And, that's just how we roll here. So yeah.
Yes. Well, it's funny how we each picked different pictures.
I'm loving
And
that.
my eyes first went to the middle one with the woman with her arms up. And I think that's because the book I'm working on right now is called Midlife Awakening. So that's an image that I think fits well. But the picture that I really connected with for this year is actually the group of women walking together, holding hands. And to me, it's all about community, collaboration, connection. And to me, I see this is how we're going to get through this year. Yeah. Together, supporting each other, creating what we're walking into, not just dealing with what's in our face. And some of the energy that I took from that picture was that feeling of just calm and support. And okay, girls, we've got this. Yeah. So that was my picture.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Sparkle fingers for you. Yes. Yeah, really nice. So sisters, you got it. And, what we also model is things that you can do with your clients, taking your clients, so much of Zoom is left brain, it's thinking, it's like we're sitting down, and also with our counsel, I want to model things that you can also try with your clients. So get them thinking with their right brain, thinking with their creativity, thinking and imagining, visualizing, picture, pretending, and just get them into a different phase. Okay. So I'm assuming you all feel a little bit more energetic now than you did when you jumped on. So there we go. Good. Okay, great. So this is so important because as you all know, our outlook, the lens we're looking through is going to give us the experience that we're having. And I also want to acknowledge we're a special group here because, doing this kind of exercise out in the public, probably not so much, we might have some different answers, which are just quite fine because, most folks, and I'm going to cough here a second, I'm sorry, many folks are putting their head in the sand and kind of in denial about what is happening. And again, do we know what's happening with the economy? Do we know what's going to happen? We don't. Does anyone know? I don't know that anyone has an idea. I don't have a crystal ball here. I do have a Mr. Perfecto, which I will pull out in a moment when you can ask Mr. Perfecto questions. But, for all of us, I know in the work we do, we want to be the lighthouse that people can look to in this storm, whatever the storm may be. So your thoughts so far? Love to pause, get your thoughts in this.
I think it's just a lot of positive energy in us working together and especially communities like this one where we know that we are here to support each other and if we're each that lighthouse for each other, then we'll get through the storm.
And you just can't seem to spend enough time on doing that or put enough energy and attention to it because things will be rocky. And as long as we're clear on where we're going, we can overcome any kind of challenge.
I like that picture too, because I mean, it's a storm. We got the lightning, the birds are getting out of there, the waves are big. I really like that picture, and the lighthouse. So if you don't panic, I like the message it sends, like there will be storms. So we all know that. There will be storms.
Oh, beautiful.
But the light can be found, right? So if you weather the storm, you will find light. So I like that. That's what that represents to me. That's a good picture.
And
Thank
I think
you.
the beauty of it is the thought that if you can't find the way, you have a collection of women within our community that you can turn to help them find the light for you, that reminds you that it is within you. Because sometimes when the storm's brewing, it's hard to see our own light, and we need somebody else to shine it on us. There was an ad years ago that always cracked me up. It said something about, when you can't find the light, just go get a flashlight. And just picking up something else as a support tool to get you back into the focus and not get lost in the darkness.
So weren't we just modeling that right now? Coughing. And yet, thank you. Lots of love to each of you. Yeah, because that's who we are also for our clients. And so, the next thing that I wanted to really get the conversation around is, first strengthening ourselves, strengthening our resolve, examining what's the lens that we're looking through, and that we are in fact that lighthouse. And I love this quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. I'm wondering, would someone love to read this? Get your voices in the room on this. Just jump right in.
Okay. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. So true.
Thank you. Yes, because that's the thing is, no matter what, we can be the lighthouse. We don't have to be in denial about what's happening. And of course, at the same time, using our business acumen and strategies to look ahead and be the way shower that we are. So I think also now, sisters, it's time for us to enact our warrior woman. Okay. I love Wonder Woman. I've got Wonder Woman posters around here, but we've got to enact that part of us that's fierce, that's confident, that's competent, that is persevering. And so I love, and we all know this, we're all coaches, consultants, trusted advisors, thought leaders, that our clients look to us for certainty. And our certainty, just their certainty, their confidence, oftentimes they're leaning on us as their rocks. So whatever is your archetype for being that warrior woman, I really think take on the persona of that warrior woman, because certainty, as we know, now is not the time for indecisiveness, for insecurity, for the poser problem, which we're going to have a session about very, very soon, or the imposter syndrome and all of that nonsense. Is certainty is going to give us confidence. And of course, when we're confident, we take action. And when we take action, we get results. So now is the time to be moving forward, as you know. And so talking about, how to handle the Scud missiles that are coming with the economy, to kind of get into some practical terms, it's, I believe, diversification for our businesses and for ourselves is absolutely critical. Not trying to be the jack of all trades, but, do we have the golden goose, the multiple eggs that we're working with? Are there some things that we're doing in our business to move us forward? Or are we the single egg kind of girl? Meaning, I'm just a coach, and just quote unquote, haha, tee hee, but I am a coach. That's what I do. That's all I do. I only work with people one-on-one. I don't have anything else in my business. Or I am a coach. I do other things. I have different programs. I work with teams. I work with individuals. I have groups, all kinds of things. So comments, questions as we pause, because we're going to get into some more tactics.
I think it's definitely about diversification. And sometimes it's not even what you do, but who you do it with. Because sometimes if you've been so focused on one industry or one vertical of business, you may be in and I'm looking at the backstory of my life with construction and architecture. There are times when everybody's not spending money that people think, well, there's no construction going on, but maybe somebody's looking at how they're going to come out of something later. So they have the money to spend now because they're not so focused on building their business. So you can help them create a vision for something that's going to move them forward as they come out of a slower time. And we frequently only look at it as I have always delivered it this way, instead of looking at how can I deliver my message to a group that's never been exposed to it. And I think that's sometimes where the diversification comes to, without us having to create a whole new chapter of what we do. It's just a new market.
And to build
Love
on
it,
that,
love it, love it. Yeah, please go ahead.
build on
Yeah.
that, sometimes it is a new market, and other times it is, how do you need to serve people today versus a year ago, right? And you can still have the kind of core of who you are, diversifying with different industries and whatnot. And we just got to not get stuck in, this is the way it gets done. We got to, be creative, experiment, try new things, because there are a lot of other ways to serve people and provide value. It used to always, for us, it was always in person. Look at what's transpired with virtual. Sometimes, people work with individuals. Well, what about groups? What about teams? And expanding in that way. So just constantly challenging ourselves with, what works now, and, what's another way in which this would work, or how might it work even better?
So beautiful. And in a couple slides, I'm going to go into kind of the specifics of how to diversify some things that maybe, you don't have right now in your portfolio of solutions, but you can add some new things that add additional income and also diversification to your business. I remember distinctly in good golly, 2007, 2008, I was trucking along, had a very successful coaching business I had a lot of financial services clients, banks, mortgage companies, and I was, approaching 500K a year. And I was just loving it. It was great. It was teams and leaders and all kinds of wonderful things. Well, we know what happened in 2008. The mortgage crisis occurred, and literally within 60 days, because banks were the first ones to start feeling the pinch, and they were the leaders of the recession that we went through. And it was amazing because all of a sudden contracts got delayed, payments got slower, clients started renegotiating contracts, and then it was like, no, we've decided we're going to cut back on coaching and training for our employees, which we all know is probably the worst thing to do during a recession. Hello, but that's how it was. And I wasn't really aware of what I should have been aware of then. And so literally, from a 500K a year business to literally dropping it to half of it, and then half of it was quite something. So I learned a really good lesson. And so right after that, got skilled up on some new things that we all can be taking advantage of, as we'll talk about in a moment. But I don't ever want to go through that again. Yeah. Anybody been through anything like that? Yeah, very challenging. Yeah. So diversification, really, really important. And at the same time, I think it's a really critical decision to make. Do we want to be the Ritz-Carlton offering great services, great, powerful, transformative experiences? Or do we want to be the Walmart in the coaching and consulting business? Nothing against Walmart, because Walmart is very functional, but I think it's a thought process of where do we want to play? And sometimes it doesn't have to be an either or, but making a critical decision about where you want to add value, who's your ideal client, and who are your ideal partners, really critical. So what I'm going to do, just kind of talking about diversification a little bit, and then jump into some actual examples of how you can add new things or double down on what you're already doing, and bring on Kathy Dirksen to talk about the importance of being a published author. Okay. So, diversifying your offers, your brand, your value proposition. I think sometimes, and I did this for a long time, is I thought I was a coach and coaching was what I did. And I never really stopped to think that, I was all of these other things, just like all of you are. And, I had a very, very local business. I had a lot of business within about 100 miles of my home office. But I also then, through that great experience in 2008, 2009, I learned that I needed to diversify to a more regional business. And then, thank goodness, with C-Suite Network, a global business. So the term is called glocal. How many of you are familiar with glocal? Yeah, really, really important. Yeah. And so we're going to have a session about that in the very near future, is how do you do it? So comments, thoughts about how to be a subject matter expert. Ultimately, really who we are is we're change makers, right? Anything emerging before I pop onto the next slide? Did you know you wore so many hats? Yeah. Not surprising to you. Yes, exactly. So let's I'm going to pause the slides and let's bring Kathy Dirksen up to the front and showcase you, Kathy, to talk a few minutes about, why being an author is such a game changer, and, the power of being a published author and being in community with others who are playing the same game. So I'll stop sharing and highlight you to come to the stage, because you are a coach, consultant, trusted advisor, thought leader. You're doing all these things, and your background is in financial services.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And this whole idea of adapting and figuring out where you fit into what's going on and what's the best direction for you to go. And I've been going through a lot of that in the last few years. And I think a huge part of it comes down to your listening to your intuition around what feels right, like what is a good fit and what actually makes you feel like you're contributing and you're doing what you're called to come here to do. And that's kind of what led me into the publishing world, is that, as you mentioned, my career had been in financial planning for many years. And I just had that feeling that it wasn't where I really fit. It wasn't completely me. I wasn't contributing to the world in that bigger way that I wanted to. And so over the last few years, I have found myself now in the publishing business. And so far I've got 8 books that are published, #1 bestsellers. I've got about 5 more in the works right now, both that I've created and that I'm working with on other people. And so I love creating books, and the collaborative book is where I focus most of the time, and just to kind of look at some of the values and how jumping into an opportunity like these can actually add a lot, even if your work in general has nothing to do with books and publishing and that sort of thing. For one thing, in our current world, if you're a business owner, entrepreneur, especially someone who works in the coaching fields or other helping services, people expect you to have that credential with your name, that you are an author, that you're a published author. Even to say that you're a best-selling author, it has almost become expected. And if you don't have that beside your name, people are asking, oh, well, why haven't you? All these other ones over here have. And so that's one way to look at it. Another way also is, so many books, whether it's your solo book or a collaborative book project, they've all got a theme, a focus that they're bringing to the table, a message. And if you can get into projects where that message really reinforces the work that you're doing, it can really help to support you as your credibility in the field that you're working in. So that's another way to look at it. One of the things that I love the most about doing, especially the collaborative book projects, is the community that you build. The books tend to have 20 to 30 different authors in them. You will find yourself meeting people that you otherwise never would have bumped into. The books that I'm working on right now are very international. The book that just came out, we had people from UK, Germany, Australia, all over North America. And again, these are people that never would have met each other if they weren't in this project working together. And now they can create these relationships that go on and on. They create other collaborations. And I find that it's a great way to get to know people on a completely different level, because you're sharing a journey, you're sharing an experience. And of course, it's always fun when you hit that launch day and do your international bestseller and all those kind of bells and whistles that come along with it. And one of the books that we'll be working on as well with the C-suite community, we'll be doing fun things like even having a billboard at Times Square, New York City, things like that. And, you know, sort of parties to really get to know the group. So that's one of the things that I think people don't think about when they look at opportunities for being in a book project. They don't see all those other levels of building your people, referring you business, people working together on different projects. So to me, that's a huge part of it. And so I would definitely recommend that anyone who is kind of going into something like we're talking about with the recession, look around for different things that you might do. I mean, obviously you don't want to jump into something that's completely like so far out of any kind of connection with your work or the group of people you're connecting with, but look for those opportunities that are a good fit, that are in alignment with the message you're bringing and the people that you want to be connecting with. And just because it's a type project you've never done before, don't look at it like that. One of the big things I've really noticed with the book projects is the confidence that it builds in people. And it's something that, again, you wouldn't necessarily think is going to be a side effect of contributing to a book project or stepping into writing your own, but it just brings a new spark of energy and confidence that allows you then to step into other bigger projects that you might not have thought of doing before either. So those are a few of the things that I love about book projects. And so again, just diversifying how you're connecting with the audience that you're looking for. So.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes. And Kathy, you'll be sure to put your contact information in the chat. And then when we get our program live, when it'll be recorded on YouTube as well, we'll make sure that we'll put in the notes, the show notes, how people can reach you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes. My website's the easiest one. So it's just inspiredtenacity.com, and always something new going on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so many people say that being a published author is the new business card.
Definitely.
You know, I was in a collaborative book anthology with Dr. Stephen Covey and Ken Blanchard, and I can't tell you how many, the book has a life of its own. And so the leverage you get by being in a book with others is really, really powerful.
And really taking that opportunity to really meet those people.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you connect with someone, you say, hey, we're in this book together, let's chat. It's an automatic built-in reason to get to know each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. Very good. Michelle, you have a question. Please jump in.
I have a couple questions. So thank you, Kathy. So true confession, writing a book seems like a lot of work to me. Now, you said anthology. So I have done that with, like I said, I have had a chapter in a book, right? Writing a book seems like a lot of work. What I love to do is speak and train and coach, right? I don't really love to write unless I'm working on putting a presentation together. So for me, writing a book hasn't been something that I can see myself really digging into, because in my perception, which could be wrong, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of work. So I'm open though for truth. So for me, that's one thing. Plus I'm wondering now, when you said that you were with who'd you say you were in the book with, Kathleen? Stephen Covey and Ken Blanchard. Yeah,
Yes.
so those are names that are recognized. So one of my thoughts was, well, clearly that's a benefit to get in a book with people whose name got that name recognition. What if it doesn't? Like, what if you're with a lot of other people who don't have name recognition? How beneficial is that? And then the other thing is, what's the cost? Like, what would you say the financial cost is to do it? So the cost and then the benefit, because you started off by saying people expect you to have written a book. And so does that help you charge more for your services? So cost benefit. So that's kind of a lot of questions I asked.
Okay. Well, first I'll back up to your first part where you were mentioning that writing a book seems like a lot of work, but you do a lot of presentations and speaking engagements. And so it might even be a good idea to look at what you've actually already written and see how you can actually put that together into a book.
Yeah, I
And
have a lot of
you'd probably be
content.
shocked at how easy it would be.
Mhm.
So that's the first comment on that side of it. The value of being in books that don't have a celebrity pull on them. I mean, obviously to be in the celebrity crew and say, hey, look at me, that definitely adds that extra benefit. But to have that credential beside your name, people often don't even follow up on, okay, what does that mean? Or where's that, like, what did you do? What's your book? It's just that you have that international best-selling author tag on your name. So that alone does definitely add value. As far as the cost goes, yes, a lot of it would depend on what the bells and whistles and other contacts are in the project. A lot of the projects that I work on with my current publisher, I try to keep the investment as low as possible just to make it available for people to jump into as a first-time thing. And then I find once they get their feet wet in it, they are more likely to jump into future projects that may be at a higher price point. And so it could vary anywhere from around $1,000 into $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $10,000, depending on who you're working with, what all they're including, and who else is involved. So there is a huge range in the investment involved in those projects. And did that cover most of your questions?
That was a lot of questions. So I think it did. You got my mind rolling. It's something I've thought about, haven't taken action toward it other than being invited to do a couple chapters and write some articles in magazines. So,
and that's why I always keep my calendar open to just jump on calls with people, just jump on a Zoom and chat about what your ideas are. What do you want it to look like? What's the point in it? Some people want to write a book just to say they did and to give it to their grandkids, and other people want to hit that best-selling status. So your what you want out of the book is important too.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, good. Any other, so Kathy, thank you. Susan, did you had comments yourself?
Yeah, I did. One of the things, some of you know Debbie Mrazek, and she's a fabulous sales coach. She was hesitant to write her book. And one day somebody that she knows and respects had invited her to their house for coffee. And she gets there and there's a microphone sitting on the table. And she's told they're going to write her book that day. And instead, what it was is they set up recordings. They asked her questions that they knew she would relate from her, work experience. And they basically framed out the book in that day just by her answering the questions that were being asked of her. Somebody who had worked with her enough to know how to help her frame that up. She has frequently said, had that not been surprised upon her, the book would have never come to fruition. There are lots of ways for you to find, like Kathy was saying, what have you already done that you've got documented? You've just never pulled it together to look at and go, geez, can I out of that pull a book together that is a framework for what I want to promote? Or is it tips that it becomes maybe a smaller book, but it's still something that allows you to get out there and get published? I wrote my book because when I started looking at where I was in life, wanting to be able to take my work experience from several different directions. So I hired a writing coach because technically I thought of myself better at science, math, and what I was doing in different ways English was always my worst subject. I'm a lousy speller, you know, just a myriad of reasons to say
Thank God for spell
I'm not
check.
a writer. And the most beautiful thing she told me when I started working with her is she says, that's what editors are for. Stop trying to think you have to sit down and write it from front to back. She says, give me a chapter outline and then write. And we can take those pieces, and she says, it'll evolve. And instead of me then being worried about it, it became a simple creation process based on me working with her. And she ended up helping me get it published. Now, that meant it took me longer, but I had created contact and relationship with her, and she championed me and then used my book as a tool for her to bring in people that she liked working with and allow them to do what they do to create we actually blogged about how the book came together. So they became able to spotlight themselves and what they were doing using my book as an example. There's different ways for you to find business partners in this process, especially when you look at a time like this. These are people who maybe aren't getting the number of contracts they would normally have, and they're willing to work with you in a smaller, different way because you're going to create a partnership and a framework that allows everybody to showcase their skills. So that's just a couple of different
Awesome.
things I know about, you know, how my book came together and how I've seen others come together. And then, you know, when you've got great people like Kathy who can help you to look at what you want to do, it really helps you to go, oh, now I have the inspiration and somebody who's going to help me, you know, with the accountability of doing what I need to do to get this first one written. So with that, I
Beautiful.
actually, while I was working on that, was a contributor to one book where I only had to write a page. You know, it wasn't a big thing, but it was a photographer who was doing a whole series on what she had done, a Fearless Women photograph book. Now she wanted to do it with fearless women and take business people that she had photographed, and she created Fearless Women, Fearless Wisdom. Marianne Halpin is a fabulous photographer, and to be in one of her books as that came out before my own personal book did, gave me a great sense of security because I'd worked with somebody who knew how to put something together, and that helped me to have confidence as I was writing later on. So since then, I've contributed to 4 other books. You start doing it little bit by little bit. And as Kathy said, you can find the ones that you can afford to be part of, or you can find a partnership with several people and say, what would it take for all of us to put something together?
Beautiful. Susan, excellent. Oh my goodness. Such great wisdom there. And Kathy Dirksen, thank you. Susan K. Younger and Kathy Dirksen, great. Yeah. So part of today, we're going to finish up here in a moment, is I think for all of us, start where we're at. There's start where we're at. And our council is known for presenting a lot of ideas. So let me get back to the slides and we'll finish up here in a moment, because being a published author is important. And it's one thing, because, with building a solid, powerful, sustainable business, I think there's just really 4 ways to do it. Engage your current clients to quote unquote buy more or retain you more or connect with you more. Or number 2, engage your current clients to purchase more often, or sign contracts more often for more people in their organization or one-on-one, or engage with more potential clients. So that's 3 of the 4 ways. And then the final way, I think, is engaging partners and more partners to assist you, to actually be able to connect and support and advocate for you and connect with you as affiliates, as partners, as sponsors, all kinds of things. So thinking about, as we diversify our income for this year in our business. Now, this is a very busy slide, and I sure don't expect, you all to, kind of read it all in this moment, but I have an ebook that's coming out, again, published, ebook on how to diversify everything that you're doing. And so it kind of gets back to, what's the goal this year? Do we want to be a one-to-one clients who really appreciate us, that value us, that we're looking for more deeper relationships in a VIP kind of way? Are we looking for like premium high ticket? I think that's a great way to go because you're all capable of doing that for sure. And or are we spending time on at the very bottom activities like membership sites and challenges? Those are very important, but those are generally sales and marketing activities. So where are we spending our time and what's the ROI? So great thing to think about. And of course, as you all know, would love to have a conversation with each of you just to kind of look at your mix of products, your mix of programs. What's the mix of what you're doing now? And where do you want to go this year? Part of the diversification. And then as we finish up here, I really think that our clients are looking for a roadmap from us. Again, getting back to our confidence is contagious. Our confidence, our certainty, our assertiveness, asserting our thought leadership, becoming the published author, becoming the speaker, becoming the go-to person in your particular niche, really critical because, they're looking for a lift. Remember back in the day, people were hitchhiking. They're looking for a lift from you, and you're the perfect person to give them the lift they're looking for. And of course, just to kind of reiterate very quickly that as a coach, yeah, we're a coach, but good golly, we provide so much more to our clients. I mean, we're listening partners, we're advocates, we're people who show the way. We're looking around corners to give them some guidance and visibility as to what we see happening in the world. They look to us and how unique our special relationship is with our clients because we're committed to them. You know how committed you are to your clients. Oftentimes, we're the one person that is so committed to them. We're sometimes, we're sometimes more committed to them than they are to themselves, So yeah, exactly. And being an accountability partner and a straight talker with our clients. So part of diversifying your income and your business and recession proofing, your business and your life is to look at all of the value you provide. And I highly recommend it. We get done with our call today. Take a moment and just write down all of the things you do for your clients. It will blow your mind who you are and what you do for your clients. Is really, really powerful because as we finish up here, we all need sisterhood, brotherhood. We need support. We need mentorship. All of us do. I do, and I walk the talk. I have 3 coaches that I work with in different areas of my life and my business because I need that mentorship to be able to move to another level in life. So just curious, as we finish up here, I'd like to get your voices in the room as we finish up. What's your biggest takeaway from our time together? And of course, we always finish with, it's your time. It's your time now. It's time for you to shine your light, stand in the light. Thank you very much, Michelle, for all of us to shine our light. And more to come. We've always got programs. Saturday Morning Women's Success Circle is awesome. We're also doing a program with Christina DiGiacomo talking about the new technology. Can't wait. So love to get your feedback. What's your biggest takeaway from our time together? Biggest takeaway, would love to hear that. Thank you.
To me, it's just a reminder that we know more than we think we know at times. And we get so focused on what we're doing that it's a group like this and the discussions that come out of everybody that help to feed us on those, oh yeah, I could do that, or I hadn't thought about it that way. It helps us to get out of our own way and move into that sisterhood of, oh, so-and-so can help me with this. And that relieves me of what I was worried about, or that points a way for me to do something I was thinking I wasn't going to be able to do.
Really,
Thank
really
you.
well said.
And the piggyback on that. So what Susan said, and I did like the discussion. I like that slide, the storm with the lighthouse. I did like that.
We got
because,
that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I like the perceptions and the suggestions about books, because I tell you, I have thought about it. And I have decided it was too overwhelming for me to be able to do and continue to be productive with what I'm doing. So it gave me new perspective. So I like that.
Thank you, Michelle. And isn't it said, and I'm taking this coaching for myself, 1 page a day at the end of the year, you got 365 pages in your book.
Yeah,
Anybody can do one page, right? Yeah,
true that. Yeah.
good. Thank you. Good.
Thanks.
Gloria, how about you and also Kathy, take away from our time together?
Yeah, I think, I mean, Susan said it really well, and it just, for me, is just the reminder of, you know, we are capable of so much more, and it's just the reinforcement needed to have that mindset to go big, to not play it safe, to reach for bigger and better things. No downside to that.
Your mission this year, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Gloria. Good. Big kisses, Susan, Gloria, Michelle, and of course, taking us home, Kathy Dirksen. Thank you. Biggest takeaway.
I think the big thing that my takeaway from today is that idea that, you know, even though we have all this doom and gloom about a recession coming, we need to refocus back on the opportunities that are here and see that we are surrounded by opportunities and a community to support us. So let's not listen to those other guys. Let's just focus on what we got going on.
Be the lighthouse, right? Be the lighthouse for ourselves and for our clients. So yeah. So with that, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. What a great opportunity, great time today. So appreciate you. And we'll say bye for now. We'll see you soon, and lots of good success in 2023.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.